going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do my MMA Corner number 23 video. I'm going to go over some topics that were sent to me. As always, these video segments are intended for you to kind of interact with me and to send in your topics, questions, suggestions, things you want me to talk about. I do these videos bi-weekly in order to address questions, things you want me to talk about. If there's something that you want me to talk about, message me, and in the subject line put MMA Corner. That way I know what it's for. And I will get to those topics on the next MMA Corner, which will be MMA Corner number 24. I got a couple topics, some good ones for this MMA Corner. I'm going to talk about Lyoto Machida and also Tough. Some things I want to tie into this since I didn't have as many topics for this video. But the first topic was from 911 Sally, wanted me to talk about soft arts in the UFC. Why don't you see them as a base? Why don't you see them used per se? I went and did a little bit of research on this because I haven't been completely familiar with soft arts. I know what it is. I know what the purpose of it is. It's a defensive part of the art. It's not a hard art, which, example is Muay Thai, kickboxing, karate, taekwondo. Those are offensive types of arts that incorporate damage, heavy damage. Soft arts incorporate, like Aikido, the principle of, pushing a strike away and defending yourself and moving away, not taking any damage. That's the type of soft arts. Really the answer to this question is you primarily see hard arts as the base. Muay Thai, karate, kickboxing. You see taekwondo. Examples like that. Now there are some soft art implications in UFC and MMA. They're not the base, though. For example, just like I was talking about with, I'm going to talk about Machida later on, but Machida uses, soft art principles where he, moves away, doesn't take any damage. Sometimes he does push punches away. He uses the defensive posture. Soft art principles are incorporated into MMA, and they are types of different types of principles. Even with Aikido, is used in MMA, but they're not the base. They're just principles that are incorporated into the fighter's strategy or the way that they fight. So hopefully I addressed that topic good enough. This is really a topic that I wasn't completely familiar with, but I did some research to make sure that I answered it the best that I could. So thanks for the topic. Very interesting topic. The next topic was from Slosh Skate. Wanted me to talk about Dana White. Is he good for MMA or the UFC? Several guys have done, videos on this. Evan did one, I believe Mike Miodred did one, and really, if you want to get an in-depth look, I'm not going to say anything more than what these guys have said. I would suggest, check out those videos. Both of them did a good job on the subject. But what I'm going to say is pretty much, a baseline answer to this. In the beginning that Dana White, got involved with MMA and even the UFC, buying it from the Gracies, Dana White was good for MMA at the time. He got the sanctioning in Nevada, he got the sanctioning in California, really pushed for sanctioning in Jersey to try to get the Atlantic City market as far as some of the casinos and hotels there. As of late, though, Dana White has really been good for the UFC, and if you want to, have an answer to that question of, how, I don't understand, what do you mean by Dana's only been good to the UFC and good for the UFC? Well, the UFC is a business. They're out to make money. We all know that. It's part of the evil that you realize with the UFC, and it's something as a fight fan, you come to understand that after watching MMA for long enough. But Dana White has left a lot of, tread marks in his, path as far as Elite XC, Pride, WEC, the IFL. He's left guys like Joaquin Hellboy Hansen, Tomohiro Sakurai, the way that he treated both of those fighters. Dana White has even squashed Fedor, who right now, in most people's opinions and even mine now, is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And it's just, Dana White is out to market the UFC and out to make money. Dana White's not good for MMA as a whole, but he's really good for, as of right now, the UFC. So that's how I look at it. I don't think Dana is out for MMA. Dana's out for himself. He's out for the business. If he was in it for MMA, you'd see him promoting things like Whamma, for example, who right now is in serious, serious trouble. You'd see Dana White involved in those type of things trying to push MMA. But, again, the UFC is a business, and in the North American market, they are the #1 MMA promotion. So Thanks for the topic. Very good topic. Real quick, I want to talk about Lyoto Machida. And what I wanted to talk about was, I kind of mentioned this on the radio show with Karsten on Sunday, but this is a guy that is really dangerous at 205, and I really don't think anyone at light heavyweight in the UFC or in MMA, for that matter, really matches up with Machida. I think this is a guy that is going to hold the title for quite some time, and I also think that this is a guy that here in the next year and a half, I believe, at least in my mind, is going to be in the top 5 pound-for-pound rankings, if not right up there behind, if Anderson Silva, continues to make a downfall and isn't impressive as the next couple fights, you can see Machida sneak up in there and be maybe in the third or second spot. So this is a guy you definitely need to watch out for. He's, I think, starting to get some more recognition. Fans are starting to understand, that are the casual fan base, what Machida does, what his strengths are, and why it's entertaining to watch him fight. Because the guy takes no damage whatsoever and inflicts damage. So watch out for that. I definitely think that Machida here, in the next year and a half or so, will be up in the top 5 pound-for-pound rankings. And who knows, if Fedor for, a small amount of time is inactive at the heavyweight, weight class, or doesn't fight anyone of consequence, even outside of the heavyweight weight class, you could see Machida sneak up in there. But I highly doubt that with Fedor fighting Barnett and probably getting some other fights at heavyweight. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But nonetheless, Machida is definitely a guy you need to watch out for. Real quick, a couple thoughts on the Ultimate Fighter, not this season, but the upcoming season with Rampage and Machida, which is now lined up. This, once again, is another situation where the belt's going to be held in Lingo for the 205-pound title for light heavyweight, and this is something that constantly happens with belts. The lightweight championship, well, not the lightweight championship, but the heavyweight championship was held up. The light heavyweight championship was held up before with Forrest Griffin and Rampage Jackson, and it puts so many people that are in the runnings for either a #1 contender spot or right there on the spot, and puts them way back in line, and makes them have to wait. And even in the situations with BJ Penn fighting GSP, of course, that fight was a moneymaker. The UFC wanted to put it on. They knew it would make money. They knew the fans wanted to see that fight, but in the background, Kenny Florian is another example of a guy that's sitting in the background that probably should have already had a title shot and should have already fought, but had to sit back and had to wait. I think another situation is going to happen here with this fight. You're probably going to have another #1 contender jump up, because I foresee here soon they're probably going to put together the Shogun Lewis Kane fight, which I think that's the next fight for Shogun, at least at this point right now. And if Shogun wins that, Shogun's right there if he gets one more win, for a title shot. So this is going to be a long time before, if Shogun fights in the next month or so, or not next month, the next couple months or so, depending on when they sign that agreement and that contract, when he fights, that's going to put that title in Lingo. And it's just something that, unfortunately, it's an evil with the Ultimate Fighter that happens. I don't like that, but the show, brings more fans in to MMA, gets them educated, and that's a good thing in that sense. But I've always had an issue with the title being held up like this with this show, because it just sets a lot of fights back that could happen. So those are just my thoughts on that. But as always, leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive. Let me know what you think. Leave me some ideas, some comments, suggestions, topics you want me to talk about in the next MMA Corner video. And as always, check out my sponsors on the description side. And on that note, real quick, I'm going to have my Strikeforce predictions out next week, my UFC, WEC 41, and UFC 99 predictions as well. So make sure you look for those. So on that note, you guys, have a great day.